Hello everyone. My project was on speech sound disorders and how it affects reading. And so first of all, a speech sound disorder is when a child continues to make a pattern of errors in their speech past a certain age. So every child makes speech errors when they're young. And it's when those specific errors continue past a certain age that it becomes a speech sound disorder. And so a child may substitute sounds for other sounds, like they might say tat for cat, or they might have omissions, so they leave off the ends of words, like instead of up, they just say up. And they also might add in a sound. So like instead of blue, they might say baloo, and so they add in that extra sound. And like I said, it's common for children to make these mistakes, but it's when it hits a certain age that it becomes a disorder. And so how can speech sound disorders affect reading? It can affect reading in a variety of ways, but two articles that I found really said that a common problem was with phonological awareness, is that children that have speech sound disorders have a lot of difficulty with their phonological awareness skills. So phonological awareness is the awareness and manipulation of sounds in words, and it's extremely important for decoding words as well as relating sounds to letters. And so I looked at two separate studies, and they both looked at children with speech sound disorders and typical peers, and they both found that phonological awareness was impaired in the children with speech sound disorders at a much greater level than the typical learners. And one study even followed the children from age 5 to 6 until like they were 7 to 9 years of age, and it showed that the children that had speech sound disorders at a young age, like 5 to 6 years old, even if it had resolved itself, the speech sound disorder, they still had reading difficulties at a later age. And so, with phonological awareness. And so it's really important to help children with those skills when they're young. So what's one way that you can help improve phonological awareness skills is by rhyming. And so rhyming is a great way to improve those skills. And so I based my goal off of a Common Core standard in kindergarten on reading. And my goal is by May 15th, 2015, Addie will identify and produce rhyming words with 80% accuracy given minimum cues. And so how I would help achieve this goal is by creating rhyming flashcards. And so I have chosen the book Hop on Pop, which is a great book for rhyming, as I'm sure a lot of us know. And I have flashcards, and I realize they're like backwards on the screen, I'm sorry. I have flashcards that correspond with the book. And so I would start by reading the book with the child, and depending on the level that they were at, I would try and have them clap if they heard a rhyming word, or at least point out to them like, oh, listen, like that sounds like it rhymes, like let's say it again, while you're just reading the book. And then after the book is done, I would have two sets of flashcards. So like this is tall and small. And so the page that this corresponds to is all tall, we are all tall. All small, we are all small. And this is a great one too, because there's these two rhyming words correlate to each other as well. They say tall and small, and they like go together. So that can also be a good visual for children to have. And so the flashcards that I have are tall and small. And so I would give the child tall, for instance, and small would be on the wall or on the chair somewhere in the room. And so as long as they were at a reading level, so I'm saying that this is in kindergarten, they do have some reading skills, they would be given this, and then they'd have to go find the rhyming word somewhere else in the room. And so that's just identifying what other word rhymes with the word that they're given. So eventually, my goal says that they would identify and produce rhyming words by the end of the year. And so I would then change this activity so that I would maybe only give them small. And then it would be their job to come up with tall or ball or another word that rhymes with small. And so the other learners that can benefit from this type of training is English language learners and specific language impairment learners, but really any kid learning to read can benefit from this type of activity, because phonological awareness, as we all know, is a very important part of learning to read, and so it can help anybody. And so this would be a great activity that you could do in a small group setting where you're really focusing on making sure that one child or that two children are getting it, but it can be benefiting everybody as a whole. So I've also listed some resources on the handout that I gave, and then my references are at the bottom. Thank you.